glorious Brussels. The sun is shining ahead of the inaugural European Running Championships for the very first time. The 10K, the half marathon and the marathon separated from the European Athletics Championships and given their very own platform to shine.
Welcome to these beautiful championships and this great party. Today it's a celebration of Europe and running together, the elite and mass, 46 teams together with 28,000 runners.
Taking to the streets between Brussels and Leuven, the marathon starting here in the glorious capital city and ending in Leuven with the half marathon and the 10K centred around Leuven, a gorgeous city just to the east of the capital here in Belgium. A spectacular 2 days of racing to come with plenty of Europe's best runners taking to the streets for this inaugural championships.
Hello and welcome to Leuven, around 30 kilometres to the east of Brussels, but all of Belgium's capital and its surrounds, bathed in perfect sunshine under blue skies for this inaugural European Running Championships. My name is Tim Hutchings, beside me Ellard. We're with you for the next couple of hours now to cover what is a fabulous European Running Championships, first ever edition. Men's and women's half marathon races this morning for elite.
Yeah, it is a truly beautiful day. The city of Leuven. It is one of the great university towns of Belgium. It's been a university city, in fact, since 1425. It's the 8th largest city in Belgium, just over 100,000 people. And the 15th century town hall with its huge spires, like so many Belgian cities. Leuven is a rather glorious little place in which to live. A commuter town, of course, about 30 kilometres to the east of Brussels.
So we kick things off day one of the European Running Championships with the half marathon for both the men, women and over 10,000 mass participation runners as well taking part in the race. So a couple of names to look out for on the men's side. We've got two men who have been under 60 minutes before. That's Jimmy Gressier, such an entertainer, the Frenchman, one of the favourites, if not the favourite for this race. His personal best set back in 2023 and he comes out with something to prove. Carlos Mayo as well, the Spaniard, the other man who has gone under 60 minutes, but of course, very much like Jimmy Gressier, that personal best set back in 2023. And on the women's side of things, there is one standout athlete, Diana van Es, representing the Netherlands and has a personal best of 90 seconds quicker than the rest of the field. She will, however, have to hold off a very strong home contingent, the Belgium athletes coming out in force for this one.
Well, let's have a look at some of the entries. On the men's side, there are 57 entrants from 28 nations. That's 45 entries and 24 nations on the women's side. But just a couple of athletes in this field have broken 60 minutes, but 12 have broken 62 minutes. It promises to be a very competitive race, in no small part because there are no pacemakers. That always changes things dramatically. The athletes will have to make up their own minds as to the tempo they move at. And it could be a slow, meandering affair. We don't know. There's the women's elite field with Diana van Es, one of the outstanding favourites for the Netherlands.
Well, you can see there the lines of personal bests and, of course, that time set this season by Diana van Es in New York, and it is over 90 seconds quicker than the rest of the field. The sun shining, a brilliant atmosphere, and you can see the athletes raring to go. The men will start first, and then we will have 30 seconds before our elite women take to the road.
Stand very still. Good luck.
So just 45 men, the cream of Europe at the half marathon this morning, will get this race underway. There's Jimmy Gressier. Easy to spot in that French blue, dark glasses. He is the favourite. Away they go then. The women, as Ellen said, get on the way in 30 seconds time.
So starting 30 seconds later, our elite women, 45 on the start list, representing 24 nations, 46 of the member federations represented throughout our elite fields, and of course the mass starts as well. And underway now.
You've got your clock running, Ellen, on the women. I've got my clock running on the men, and the masses behind, as you can see, moving into position. They should start in another 45 seconds. There's the course. It goes past Leuven Town Hall in the centre of the city. The start just to the south of the city. It heads mainly north north-south, long, narrow course, so to speak, up to the 10-kilometre point. Just past halfway, they turn through Vimal and then head down the line of a canal, really, through that second half of the race, which links Leuven to the far north, Antwerp to the far north, and Mechelen about 20 kilometres away to the north. And then it comes back down here to the south of the city and finishes very close to the finish line.
The work is done. You have to do what you can do on that day, and if you have a good day, better for you. If you had a bad day, maybe next time will be better for you, but I'm healthy and that's the most important thing.
Hi, I'm Liliana Windistad from Hungary, and I'm going to race the 10K on Sunday and hoping for a really good race.
Really excited for the first ever European Road Running Championships. It's great that this one's on the calendar. Excited for a bit of a technical course as well, so it doesn't feel as time trial-y. It's a little bit more, tactical racing, and yeah, excited to see the first time of this championships.
My mom and my dad were the professional athletes. My mom from Morocco and my dad from Italy, and so running is inside of my family.
I'm buzzing for it. There's a few hills.
And Jimmy Gressier very quickly to the front.
Yeah, it's an undulating course. None of these courses are super fast for the 10K or the marathon coming tomorrow, but all for this half marathon this morning. But it does look as though they've gone off at a pretty healthy click, because Gressier moving to the front, Gide of Ireland there in the green, straight into second place, and Kibrab of Norway in the white vest there in fourth place. And these four running single file. I don't know if that means there's a slight breeze in their faces, but they are to the fore very, very quickly with only a minute or two on the clock as that mass field gets underway. Different waves in the mass field.
Yeah, absolutely, as you'd expect from any mass participation event. We do have different waves, and these the faster club runners, and like we said, plenty who have represented their nations as well amongst this field.
Well, Jimmy Gressier laying out his stall very, very clearly early on. But Gressier from Gide, who is definitely one of the favourites. Gide, the Irishman, he ran 27:26 in San Juan Capistrano in California just a couple of weeks ago. That's a fabulous time. He lives in Dublin, former Eritrean.
No surprise to see Diana Van Es holding the front row there. Julia Thomas alongside her.
I mean, goodness me, 7.5 minutes on the clock. You're Gressier, Gide and Kibrab. And Gondwan's dropped back pretty quickly, Ellen, in fourth place. He's about 15 metres back. And Gressier on this little upslope, really testing these guys. Looks like he wants the gap early. And Gressier creating the gaps. There he is, bottom of picture, leading Gide. About 25 metres down is Kibrab, and then there's a bigger gap back to Gondwan. The rest of them just appearing over that hill right of picture.
We see the women's race. It's still Julia Thomas who's now pushing the pace as they come up the 3 kilometre mark, up this climb, the most significant climb, and you can see in the background as well those in the men's mass start field making their way up and joining the women now.
Back to this men's group, I should say group. It was a group, now it's just two of them, and it looks like Gide of Ireland in the green, back in third, is struggling a little bit here. Jimmy Gressier has gone out so aggressively, 13:52. It's about 58:20 tempo. I mean, that is bonkers fast. It really is.
Yeah, so our leading 4 women all going through 5 kilometres at 16:40. They're somewhat split off 12 seconds to the next challenger, the next pack behind. We saw the moment clear on the camera when he invited Kibrab to come around the outside, do some of the work if he had it in him, and I don't think he's got it there. And I think at that point, Gressier just thought very, very wisely, if you're not going to work with me, if you think you're going to hang here, you're not going to hang on my heels, and I'm going to continue to push the pace. And now both of them looking back, but with very different expressions.
But look at the support there. He is loving it. There is a man in his element. There it is. Those are the splits at 10K. 27:50. I cannot emphasize how quick that is when he's already negotiated a massive hill. Barring disaster, France are going to take gold in this the first ever gold in the European Running Championships.
Looking very good for them, France, in terms of the team standings as well. It's the top three. It's not the positions that are added together, it's the times.
Well, Jimmy Gressier, 50.46, I got him at 18k, and I'm just checking that split and what it would mean for halfway. It would mean around 59.20, 59.25 for Jimmy Gressier. He has dominated this race.
It's a brilliant statement to exactly why these championships are needed and why it is so great to give road running the platform that it deserves, as we see the mass start runners over this half marathon distance, over 10,000 competing today.
But Jimmy Gressier now heading towards the finish line. 58.14 on the clock for Jimmy Gressier. He will be one of the quickest times in the world this year. It's been quite magnificent, the speed at which he's covered these last few kilometres.
Well, a quick look back to the women's race, and Diana Van Es has now taken the lead. We were waiting for the moment when she would pounce, and she has now done it, and it seems to have broken Juliette Thomas, who had dropped off the back of this trio. Chloe Herbier able to keep on the heels of the Dutch woman so far.
Jimmy Gressier approaches the finish line now. He grabs the Ellard. He celebrates it. It will be sub 60. But Gressier is the champion in the inaugural European Running Championships half marathon for men. His winning time unofficially 59.46. Quite astonishing from Jimmy Gressier. If that is the case, it's equalled his lifetime best. He wasn't interested in that. He's the winner. He's a championship racer extraordinaire. Fabulous from Gressier out there, just to wrap up that win from Gressier. 59.45. He does set a personal best by 1 second. It rounds up the day beautifully. Second place then, it is Kiprab of Norway. He's worked so hard for this. Gondouin kicks away, picks his moment perfectly. Guidet hasn't given up, although he did have a look over his shoulder. And look at Gondouin. He's got the confidence here to come to the line and take a bronze for France. 1 and 3 for France, the Norwegians separating them.
I'm very happy because when I come here is my goal. Also is my first title in the senior. I love running, I love half marathon. Yeah, I'm very happy.
And now the break has been made by Chloe Herbier, who was shot well ahead now of the two who she was previously in a trio with. She was pushing the pace throughout the last 10 kilometres. Every time it surged, it was down to her.
There's the town hall. We just saw the tower go through shot from this fabulous aerial shot.
And the inaugural European Running Championships winner in the women's half marathon kisses the ground, drops to her knees on home soil. Chloe Herbier, a brilliant victory, and it will be a 1-2 for Belgium. Juliette Thomas taking second place and the silver medal, and this looking very promising for the Belgium team as a whole. And with no Diana Van Es in sight, the bronze medal will go the way of Sala Nestola of Italy.
It's very nice to be here in my country, European champion, because with family, with friends, it's dynamic and it's pushing off during the race with the move, the encouragement. So I am very happy to do that for the Belgian public.
We're about 30 kilometres to the east of Brussels for the second day of the inaugural European Running Championships.
So we kick things off on the Sunday morning with the 10 kilometres for both the men and the women. Let's look at the men first. Going in this one of the strong favourites representing Switzerland, the 10,000 metre gold medalist at the European Championships, Dominic Lukinyomo Lebalu. The home hosts on the shoulder of Isaac Kimeli, who loves racing here on home soil and will look to put Belgium on the podium. Well, who could stand in Batacletti's way? Certainly the British interest will be with Beth Potter, the triathlete who returns to her roots after collecting a bronze medal in the individual Olympic triathlon in Paris last summer.
The same start line today as yesterday for this 10K as for the half marathon yesterday. But basically this 10K course covers the first half of the half marathon course from yesterday. As you can see, they start to the south of the city centre, up through the city centre, past the town hall,
and then negotiate a loop just to the north of the city, and then wind their way back down through the city centre, past the University Library. This is one of the great university cities of Belgium, to the finish line here, right beside our commentary box. We've got a very privileged position in our commentary box by the finish line.
As we now draw attention, of course, to the first race of the day, and we'll be kicking off with the men's elite 10 kilometres.
So the Belgians expected to give a very strong account of themselves after 1 and 2 in the women's race yesterday over the half marathon distance. Well, let's have a look at some of the leading men. There he is, Dominic Lokinyomo Lobalu. There is Jory Leonard, the 24-year-old Brit, good track form. Jan Schrub of the French squad. They promise to be very fast as well. And they're the last of them. Kimeli, also racing for Belgium. The women start 30 seconds behind the men, the elite women, by the way, and then the masses. So engines revving, ready to go for this inaugural 10K on the roads at these European Running Championships. Away they go then. Now, the roads will be a little bit more slippery because there's been no rain for 3 weeks. You get a sort of build-up of oil and other things on road surfaces when you get a long period of warm, dry weather.
Well, one of the favourites for today, of course, Clara Lukin of Slovenia, Seralati, the Swedish national record holder. All eyes will be on Nadia Batacleti, home favourite, Jana van Lent. We see the women poised and ready to go, each and every one of them with their hands on the watches. And there will be challenges there as now the first wave of the mass start men get underway.
Well, this is the front end of that men's race. You can see Jan Schrub there in the blue of France, about fourth from right. Lobalu to the left of picture of Belgium. Batacleti not hanging around.
No, she's admitted she knows that there's a target on her back. She spoke about that in the press conference. She knows that she's one of the ones to beat. Clara Lukin up there as well, of course, in that really distinctive kit of Slovenia. It's so easy to spot the highlighter green. Of course, Wheeler now looking around and seeing who's happy to go with this pace. You can see Lobalu tucked in the kit of Switzerland, a few places back now. And already gaps opening up in the women's race as Clara Lukin and Nadia Batacleti pulling away.
And these three beginning to get away as we see the leading women from high above, as that string of 5 or 6 tucked behind the leading pair. Kimeli now pushing to the fore from Dagino. They're really racing here. This is aggressive running too, and the gaps are going to widen.
Yeah, he was invited. Dagino's looked to his side and said, please come through. It's not the first time that he signalled to Isak Kimeli to take a turn on the front. He looked to his shoulder, and Kimeli feels that he can take on the offer laid down by the Frenchman to try and push forward.
There it is, 13.50 at 5K. It is quick.
Well, that's a brilliant angle. You can see that the gap is closing behind, and it's Dominic Lokinyomo Lobalu who has been tasked with trying to bridge the gap, and you can see him bobbing around there, the white singlet with Suisse in red.
Who was that? Lobalu? Lobalu steps aside when he's up there in the top half dozen. But Lobalu has stepped aside. The European champion at 10,000 metres on the track outdoors last summer has been reduced to a walk. That is really strange. He was looking okay.
As well, the picture changes in the women's race as well. Yaremchuk and Lati now on the shoulders of Clara Lukin and Nadia Batacleti.
But Kimeli tucked in now as Dagino, I think it is, hits the front again. He's done his fair share of leading. I mean, you've got to give credit to the 25-year-old. He's worked really hard through this race to build up this gap and get the rest of Europe behind him.
And here goes Nadia Batacleti, who has sensed it's her time to pounce, and Clara Lukin cannot match her.
Here's that trio trying to chase down Batacleti, but she's building a lead now, the Italian. The leading men go through 9K. They've got about 2 minutes 45 of hard running to come. Leading at the moment is Schrub now, and he's beginning a little glance over his shoulder then, and another one. He's just trying to see. He's obviously cranked it up a notch or two. He's accelerating here, Schrub, trying to see what effect it's having. And I think they've got rid of Kimeli. Look at this from Jan Schrub, winding it up all the way, continually accelerating, and he still looks relaxed. To the southern end of the city of Leuven, the locals have come out in their thousands to support these races.
and it looks quite magnificent despite the drizzle. He will be the winner of the inaugural European Running Championships 10-kilometre road race. Jan Schrubb makes it gold for France, and Dagino makes it 1-2 again. Well, Kimeli had to give best to those. Isaac Kimeli for Belgium takes the bronze. He makes sure the home nation gets onto the rostrum.
Again, Jan Schrupp pulls on the French cockerel onto his head. He did exactly the same in 2023 at the European Cross Country Championships, and another gold to add to his impressive collection.
Yeah, today I want to win in the finish, not in the beginning of the race like Jimmy like Jimmy's half marathon. I just will win in the finish. The finish 200 meter. We are very happy for the team because we have the gold medals with the French team.
Well, didn't he say it right there, Jan Schrupp? It's about winning being in the front at the finish, not at the start. His time 27:37 ahead of Dagino's 27:46.
It was really fun that there was like a twisty turny course, lots of hills, bit of cobbles. Like, it's good to see city centre racing like they used to have in the 80s with good crowds and stuff, and so I think it's good for the sport.
Machado of Portugal gritting her teeth. She now looks to be into the silver medal position. It's been a long time since we went back to this group who are falling behind Nadia Battacletti, who's now into the home straight, and just looks completely focused, doesn't she? She can't take it too easily, though, as she comes through the last 500 metres, because behind her, Machado of Portugal is absolutely gunning here. She's gritting her teeth and driving towards the line. She's up into the silver medal position. She's surged forward. This has been a brilliant race from the Portuguese athlete. And those behind her is the interesting watch. Dietrich of Germany still going. Clara Lukens there as well. Yaremchuk of Italy falling backwards, while her teammate cruises towards another European title. It's Machado who's leading.
She's
in the
working
battle.
so hard,
She is. I think she's gone too early, and here is Dietrich who cruises past her now. The German into the silver medal position, but no doubt Nadia Battacletti does it again. A perfect hat-trick for the Italian, who becomes the first to hold a European title on all three surfaces. It was never in doubt. Clara Luken, who's fourth in the European all-time list, she's now surging towards the line, but it will be Dietrich to Germany who takes the silver medal ahead of Clara Luken, who's had a superb season so far, but just can't replicate it at championship level at the moment. She takes bronze.
It means a lot because win 4 title in less than a year, it's so important, and of course on 3 different surfaces, so it's the best gift of my birthday.
Just didn't feel 100% today. Just didn't feel 100%, but I gave it a good go, and I worked hard on the hills, but yeah, it was good fun.
Once again, European champion with a winning time of 31:10.
Yeah, that's quick from Battacletti. So the 10K done, the half marathon done. That was yesterday, of course, and the marathon to come. That gets underway in Brussels. There you can see in front of the Royal Palace with some more than 12,500 athletes racing in that one.
Field headed up by Lorna Chematai Salpeta of Israel, previous World Championships bronze medalist over this distance. Well, the home favourite, Hannah Verbruggen, spoke a lot in the press conference about the challenges she's had to overcome to get to the start line. Usually working as a biology teacher, she laces up to take on the marathon distance. Ilyas Awani goes in the colours of Italy, another strong team that they're putting out in the marathon. And George James pulls on his first ever Great Britain vest after 7 weeks training at altitude in Colombia. We're expectant to see if that all pays off. When you're in the centre of Brussels, it's kind of like a bowl. You're always, if you're particularly very central, you're very low down, and so then moving out of the city, whichever angle you go from, there's always going to be a climb. And through, of course, as they come out of the city, there will be the climbs when they hit the halfway point. It then starts to go a little bit smoother downhills. There's no real sharp downhills on the way out of Brussels, and then once again when they come to Leuven, you see it as we did over the course of this morning and yesterday as well, a sharp uphill at what has been the 3K point at the other races, and they'll loop back round.
Well, some of the leading lights in the men's marathon this morning. The field's not as big at the elite end of things. There's 43 starters in the men's marathon, this elite field, from 23 nations, but it does promise to be super competitive. Well, some of the leading lights in the men's race are being introduced there. Can Keegan Osbilen, Italian. They're also a major favourite, the Italian Awani. 29-year-old at 2:06 performer in Valencia last December. Shakir of Spain. And De Bock of Belgium. Watch out for him. Thomas De Bock, the 33-year-old. 2:10 he ran in Rotterdam a couple of years back.
Lorna Chemtai-Salpeter introduced to the crowd. She's the fastest in the field at 2022 World Championships bronze medalist. And Anna Verbruggen, the home favourites in this marathon distance.
But a marathon is a long way, 42.2 kilometres, 26.2 miles, and various acts can unfold that never come into play in a half marathon or a 10k.
2, 1, let's go!
They are racing then in Brussels. That elite field of 43 men gets underway, and just 27 in the women's marathon, Ellen. It's a small but high caliber field on the women's side.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to see that amongst those 27, there's 16 nations represented in the marathon, as now the masses stream through that funnel and out onto the course. It's a really tough first 13 kilometres as they climb out of the city centre, out of the capital.
To write a picture, by the way, there, bit of an interesting story. George James from Great Britain, he's the only British athlete in this race. He's just come back from 7.5 weeks training at altitude in Bogota, Colombia. 8,500 feet he was up there, and he's forging his own path here, isn't he? Out on his own to the extreme right of picture. Now he's moving in to shot in the pack there. 31 years old. He's a late developer. He spent most of his 20s working on super yachts, and so only able to run on treadmills and doing about 40 or 50 miles a week. Well, Jubel Park. He gates into Jubel Park there, high above, and the athletes will be running under it by the looks of things, into yet another tunnel to get out of the centre of the city. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned, of course, is that this is championship racing, so for the men, different for the women, funnily enough, as we switch over to the women's leaders. There are no pacemakers. This is championship racing, and I love it. It makes it a very, very different beast to the pace-made races that we're used to seeing all around the world, the super fast races, whether it's in Tokyo or Europe or South America or the USA. This is championship racing. It's very, very different.
It's a scramble to get the early bottles, and it is a slightly complicated system, as a shrug from De Bock. He's either not sure about where his bottle was or whether he should have had one, but very early on in this race you can see plenty of the athletes going over and picking up the bottles that they'd left, and a fair bit of stopping and having to go backwards there.
Well, it did George James there, second to right in the colours of Britain, that sort of blue vest. He missed his bottle. I was watching him carefully. That might have been why the Belgians, De Bock and Boulevard, surged to the front as they approached that drink station, and that really is just showing good experience, good knowledge.
Salpeter still leading the way, but Bruggen in behind. A brilliant story of resilience to get to this point, breaking her jaw in training after a fall, and still managing to get to this point where she can compete today. She was asked if any of her students would be out around the course. She's a biology teacher not too far away from Leuven. She said that she runs with them. Yeah, they run with her. They're always there, always in her thoughts.
Now, George James leading this chasing pack behind that leading group, bouncing along and looking strong. I wonder if it's playing on his mind that he missed his drink at that first station. And just to clarify that for those of you, the uninitiated, all these elite athletes had the opportunity yesterday to hand in 8 bottles of their own special made-up drinks, their own concoctions, and of course the strength of it changes from early in the race to late in the race. Those are handed in and refrigerated overnight,
and then placed at specific 5k tables where those drinks can be picked up by the athlete at 5, 10, 15, 20k and so on. But if you miss 2 in a row, then it can start not only playing on your mind, but actually be a physiological factor. Well, George James has been leading that second group, and he's dragged them up, and they're pretty much latched onto the back of that lead group now. There you are. See the caught 4 at the top of picture. They've caught up to the lead group. That's 12 together now. 31 minutes exactly at 10k. So that's a second 5k, much quicker.
The women coming towards the 10-kilometre mark now shortly. And still, they have the male runners to either side, but it seems like they're just sort of making their way through. George James, he does get it right this time, picks up his bottle.
Well, he obviously accelerated and got it right.
Well, it's all about the learning experience, isn't it? As we can watch back, he clearly put a spurt on there. Both hands, he wasn't going to miss that at all.
Stopping and grabbing it.
He made sure he got that exactly right. That's all about the experience of championship racing, though, isn't it? You know, this is his first Great Britain best, and he's put a lot of hard work in. 7 weeks in Colombia at altitude training, and he wants to make sure that all pays off. And it's all about getting the fine margins right.
Teferi has kicked away here down this on the downslope out of this village, and the rest of the pack not only responding, trying to maintain a more steady rhythm. Is this just a reaction to the downslope and a bit of freewheeling from Teferi, or is he actually putting in a surge here to try and get a gap on this field?
Both at the front now, and what could be, you imagined it would come at some point, just due to the changes and the differences in the personal best in this field. At some point an attack was going to come. They do come to the bottle station now, and you wonder whether that's got something to do with it, as we saw on the men's side of things. Maïv going through the bottle station first. She takes a look over her shoulder, obviously securing her personal bottle exactly where it needed to be.
Well, here we go, 15k, 45.51, and it was George James in the lead at that point.
As at the front of the women's field, Maïv, well, you did wonder how much of an attack it was, whether it was tactical, so she found herself in the right position to claim her bottle.
Well, it's an aggressive move, isn't it? Because look at the gap she's opened up on Salpeter in the last 5 minutes.
There you can see the time through 15 kilometres, 51.57, so sitting, the pace has jumped up. So that's around 2:26, I think, predicted time.
This is quite some surge from Malady. 59 minutes on the clock. They're still, 3 or 4 minutes away at least from the halfway split. But Malady looking very strong, I have to say. It does look good, but that can mean relatively little. You know, they say one old adage about marathon running is that the halfway point is at 20 miles with a 26. And that might not sound very logical, but actually in terms of effort it says a great deal. This is a significant and aggressive move from him, I have to say. At 21k, it's not the halfway point. Remember, they've got to do another 98 yards or something like that, so it'll be just around this bend will be the halfway point.
Scenery as we go back to the leader in the women's race, and it's Majida Maïv of Spain, who this is her first race of the season. The chase back led up by Lona Salpeter, fastest in this field, but there's the Spaniard who is well off the front here, ranked second in Europe. Well, here is the chase pack, a mix of the elite women and the male top-end club runners, and Salpeter now starting to respond and just turn the screw slightly, but still there. The Bruggen of Belgium just tucked in behind. She's marking her every stride. Takes a brief look down, just glued to the back of the Israeli athlete. Now on board with the Spaniard, who's further up this climb, this incline, to the front of the men's race with 67 minutes on the clock.
Yes, Malady chasing that lead car. There it is at halfway. 63.52 is the official halfway split for Malady. But look at the gap he's got there, 15 seconds. None of these fellas are so far back that you can write them off yet. I mean, you know, if you're 10 or 15 seconds back, that is not a write-off distance. Although that lead being built up here by Malady, wearing 13, ironically, is beginning to look pretty impressive.
Yeah, this angle might be slightly deceptive, but it does look like they're reeling in
Oh, you're right.
Malede slightly, and he did take a look over the shoulder, and if you just look at the cadence, he's slowed down.
You're spot on. 30 metres. At the most, 25 metres. And they're gaining with every stride. His stride length there, bottom of picture, has reduced dramatically. Well, this lead pack, Malede, and he's now been caught, I think, Malede. That's him at the back of the group. There's the women's splits at 25k. And what, just 4 athletes in that pack, and quite a big gap behind them. There's the men at 30k, 1:30.55. Does look like we're down to 5 now, and we're getting into the meat end of this race, the last 10k. This is a surge from Ayale, Ellen. It's always clear when they slip in behind each other and start slipstreaming in single file that there's been a little cranking up of the tempo.
Once again, the pack just splitting to either side of the road, and you can see the damage it's done Malede well off the back. He cannot match this, and that's him now completely out the battle, you have to say. And very much of the same within the women's race, the same quartet, led by Salpetta.
But Awani of Italy, for my money, is the man who's kept his powder the driest. Hasn't really given anything away.
Well, Awani here's a really interesting case. He keeps looking from side to side. He's looking around. He's never looking forward, really, every time you glance up at him. And I wonder whether the pace has slowed here. It'd be really interesting to see the next few splits, because he keeps ending up at the front, and he clearly doesn't want to be there. We've lost Fatima Wahadu Nafi, who was amongst this leading pack, and I think there was a fall. We can take a look back. He went down, and she's gone down on top of him after grabbing her bottles, and that has absolutely separated the field. And it's so tough, because it's one of the mass start men who went down first after trying to come over to grab some water. She was a little bit further back after picking up her bottle, and thankfully one of the other athletes has stopped and helped her back up to her feet, and well, the adrenaline will be coursing through her veins. That's not what you want at all, but thankfully it's only left her, well, now she's found herself in the position she was before the fall.
7k to go, still these 5 locked together, and they are heading south now, and it's a long straight stretch back towards the city centre with 1 hour 52 on the clock. They've got about 15 minutes of running to go. And the gap's appearing now. And this is Ilham Tanui Osbilen. And he's just dropped back. And that means we're down to 4. George James, I think at the moment, is back in about 8th. There's 4 going through. Osbilen there, losing ground all the time in the red of Turkey in the background. So Teferi may be the man who misses out here. He's struggling. That gap now is about 8 or 9 metres. These 3 now 15 metres ahead of Teferi. But can Awani become the 8th Italian in history to take European marathon gold? He's driving on here. We're down to 2. And Awani working so hard here on this slight upslope. This is a tough section. 1 Israeli to go for him to get gold. He's put 2 of the 3 behind him, but this looks like a dominant stride out in the last 150 metres from Ayale. Gashau Ayale now, looking so strong. The 28-year-old is one of the quickest in the race with 2:04.53 from Seville. Can Awani get back to him? This is a battle of wills rather than a physical battle now. And Ayale goes past him. Boy, oh boy, did the Israeli misjudge it here? It is going to be gold. It's going to be glorious, glittering Italian gold here on the streets of Leuven. He's not going to be caught now. Wow. Ilias Awani from Italy. Look at the crowds roaring him on. The pack of Ethiopians, former Ethiopians, Israelis, of course, on this day. He is put behind him, and this is going to be gold for Awani. No doubt about it. 9th in the European Championships in 22. First today here in Leuven. Quite supreme. 2:09.05 I got his unofficial winning time. It matters not.
He's straight into the crowd, Ayane.
Wow.
The 2nd Italian gold of the day, and just look how much it means. He kisses the floor. A superb victory, and one that was just expertly judged once again. biding his time. He was looking around. It wasn't a sign of weakness, though.
And George James coming through now. And the time just outside 2:10. It's another massive personal best for the Briton. What a run from him. That's 5th. I think George James has come home for Great Britain. What a run. His inaugural major championship run. His 3rd marathon of his life and a massive personal best.
I didn't know what to expect. This is my 3rd marathon. I mean, training went well, and I just came out here with no limitations. And I mean, I've just been told that I got 5th. I didn't think I got 5th, so I'm delighted.
Yeah, that race was so intense. This is my first, European title as a senior, and I'm so proud of the way I ran. I proved that I have matured a lot. I was just playing on a different level. I just wanted to prove myself. The race was not easy. There were a lot of hills. It was a really tough course, but I was really wise and calm and mature, and I'm really proud about the way I conducted the race. Jimmy Gressier promised me he was going to win the European champs, and I did the same, so I kept my promise, so I'm a man of my word.
There it is, Ilyas Horne, European champion, 2:09.05, just 3 seconds better in the sprint than Nagasha Wayale. Brilliant run from the Briton, 2:10.10, the only Briton who came here to race in the marathon distance in 5th place, a massive personal best for him.
And it will be a battle of the 2 orange bibs of Spain, as Salpeta falling behind, and you can see the stride length shortening, the shoulders rolling. She is out of the battle for the gold medal at this point.
And Ouadi Nafi, the one who fell, eases to the front here. I just wonder if she's trying to break her opponent here well before the finish. 2:16, almost 2:17 on the clock, so they've got about 8 or 9 minutes of running to come. That gap is growing to a teammate. And Ellen, and I wonder whether Salpeta hasn't got Mayouf in her sights.
She'll want to keep her eyes on the Spaniard ahead of her, but who looks the most comfortable here? It's Mayo Tiori, who is floating along, wipes away the sweat from her eyes, and now she looks over the shoulders. We're just saying how strong she's looking. So that is the 40-kilometre mark to 19:28 for the leader, and a 5-second gap at that point, and that no doubt has now got bigger and bigger. You look around the corner there, it's hard to see Salpeta. She now does make her way around the bend. Has she gone too early though? Maybe slightly deceptive angle, but Mayouf is still there. Spain also have an athlete, I believe, 35 kilometres sat down in 8th. I think she's now up to 6th. So the team title, you wouldn't be surprised if it goes the way of Spain. Final bend into this long home straight. It's around 600 metres, but no one will challenge at this point. And Spain will have their first European marathon champion in a women's race. She can finally celebrate. The emotion floods through, and she hasn't even reached the finish line yet. Across the line, victorious Fatima Wahadou Nafi. A brilliant story of resilience. Perfectly timed. It won't be a personal best today, but that is championship racing at its very best. And it will be a Spain 1-2. She was alongside her compatriot Maïda Mayouf for so long. She's across the line in around 2:27.43, I think that looked like, and she'll be straight over to embrace her teammate in floods of tears on the floor. And the battle for the bronze medal will come down to a sprint finish, and it will be a brilliant one, and it'll be so close on the line.
Look at that, overcome with emotion. The champion Fatima Wahadou Nafi. What a run. And that goes down as one of the special ones, Ellen, when you've taken a tumble as severe as that, just before halfway, to get up and hold yourself together mentally and physically. That is tough.
When she started, she was thinking about middle, but she didn't know the color of middle. But After the last 3 kilometer, she pushed hard and she was concentrated. We were talking together that we can do it, and we pushed hard in the last 5. She's very happy to win this medal.
Eduardo Nafi is the gold medalist, Mayouf the silver medalist, both for Spain, and Salpeta there taking the bronze for Israel with her teammate Yuri in 4th place. So Spain with 7th place then, Navarrete 2:29, just easing under 2:30, taking the team title. There's the team results too, Spain, Israel and Belgium. Great to see the host nations, and they deserve it, you know, they've been most marvellous hosts.
It was a great day for European running, a great day for Belgium, a great day for Leuven, a great day for the crowd. It was an amazing atmosphere.
It's a fantastic day. We had a very nice weather. We had more than 10,000 competitors here, so it's yeah, like you see, it's almost it's a big party.
You have to come to Belgium, you have to come to Flanders, and you have to come to Leuven. See you there.
Belgium has been such a great host of the first ever European Running Championships. And in 2 years' time, we are going to be in the beautiful and sunny Belgrade. So please join us and run with the champions.